What kind of person keeps the knife in, twisting it when they see you bleed? But you already know the answer, don't you? It's not the stranger on the street, not the faceless crowd. No, it's the ones closest to you. The ones who smiled while sharpening the blade. The ones who whispered, "Trust me." And you did. You trusted them, you let them in. You gave them the map to your soul. And they took the scenic route, burning bridges, breaking foundations, and laughing at the wreckage. Let me tell you something about people like that. They don't just want to hurt you. Nah, that's too simple. They want to watch. They want to feel it. Every tear, every scream, every ounce of your dignity stripped away while they sit back and applaud the show. But here's the kicker, they knew exactly what they were doing. Oh, they knew, and they kept going anyway. Tell me, does it burn? Does it sting? Does it make your chest feel heavy? Like the air's been stolen from your lungs? Yeah, good. That's the fire you need. Because here's the truth they'll never tell you: pain is the only thing in this world that doesn't lie. It's honest, it's raw, and it's yours. Own it. Let it sharpen you, shape you, and turn you to the weapon they never saw coming. The question isn't why they hurt you. The question is, what the hell are you going to do with that pain now? Your move. The betrayal, knowing it was intentional. Oh, don't kid yourself. It wasn't some innocent slip. It wasn't a clumsy stumble that just happened to land the knife in your back. Nah, they didn't trip. They aimed. You see, betrayal isn't an accident, it's art. Twisted, cruel, and precise. They didn't drop the glass, they gripped it tight and slammed it against the wall, letting the shards rain down, knowing full well you'd be the one left barefoot in the mess. That's the part that stings, isn't it? The realization that this wasn't a misunderstanding, it wasn't a bad day. It was deliberate, calculated, a move straight out of the playbook of people who feed on power and control. Let me ask you this, how many nights did you lie awake, replaying their words, their actions, trying to make sense of it, trying to convince yourself that it was all just a mistake? But deep down you knew, you always knew. The way they smiled when they saw you falter, the way they twisted the truth to make you doubt your own mind. This wasn't an accident, this was their masterpiece. And you were the canvas they splattered with their lies, their cruelty, their selfishness. Here's the ugly truth, they hurt you because they could. Because it made them feel bigger, stronger. Because your pain was the proof that their power was real. It's time to stop sugarcoating it. Time to stop excusing their actions with a maybe they didn't mean to, they meant to. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they kept doing it because they thought you'd let them. But here's the twist they didn't see coming. You're not the fragile, shattered thing they think you are. You're something else entirely. They wanted to break you. Now let's see how they handle what they've unleashed. Why did they do it? That's the question, isn't it? It gnaws at you, whispers in your ear when the room goes quiet. Was it jealousy? Was it fear? Or maybe it was something darker. Here's the twisted reality: people hurt others to fill the void inside themselves. It's not about you, it's about them. Their cracks, their insecurities, their bottomless pit of not enough. They saw you standing tall, your light burning brighter, and instead of admiring it, they wanted to snuff it out. Because you were a threat, a mirror they couldn't bear to look into. Every step you took forward was a reminder of the chains they'd wrapped around their own ankles. And so, they lashed out. They clawed. They dug into you, not because you were weak, but because you were strong. Stronger than they could ever stomach. Sometimes their power doesn't come from building anything. Nah, that takes courage. It takes effort. It takes soul. But tearing you down, watching you struggle under the weight they threw on you, that's easy. That's where their control lies. Think about it for a second. Wasn't it always when you were rising, when you were glowing, that they struck hardest? When they saw you climbing higher than they could ever reach, that's when the sabotage started. They didn't just want to hurt you, they wanted to make sure you doubted yourself. Because if you crumble, they win. If you believe their lies, they stay in control. That's all they crave: control. Over you. Over the narrative. Over their own pathetic sense of inadequacy. But here's where it gets interesting: what happens when you stop playing their game, when you see them for what they really are. Not giants standing over you, but cowards hiding behind their own shadows. Now think, who were they? What were their motives? And most importantly, why do they still matter to you? Let's not sugarcoat it. Being hurt doesn't just sting, it unravels you. It gets into your bones, your mind, your soul, leaving you questioning everything. The anger burns hot, doesn't it? The confusion twists like a storm in your chest, leaving you gasping for clarity that never comes. And then there's the vulnerability. That sickening, hollow feeling of being stripped bare, as if they reached inside and stole a piece of you, leaving behind a void you can't quite fill. It's the silence after the scream, the weight of the tears you swore you wouldn't shed. You look in the mirror and wonder, how could I let this happen? Why didn't I see it coming? But let me stop you right there. Don't you dare put their sins on your shoulders. Don't you dare turn their betrayal into your failure. Your pain is real. Your pain is justified. Hell, your pain, the only honest thing left after the lies they told, the games they played, and the damage they did. Every one they left behind is a scar that tells a story they can't erase. Each one is a map of what you've endured, a testament to your survival. They wanted to break you, but here you are still standing, scarred but alive. And those scars? They're not weaknesses, they're armor. Proof that you've walked through the fire and come out not unscathed, but unburnt where it matters. I feel the anger, feel the confusion, let it roar inside you, but don't let it define you. Let it remind you of what you've survived, not what you've lost. Now take a breath. Look at those scars. At what story are they telling? And how will you use it to rise? Here's the danger in all this, the trap they've set without even trying. When you let the pain they caused fester, when you let it define who you are, it consumes you. It wraps its cold, clawing hands around your mind and turns you into something you never wanted to be. Bitter, resentful, stuck. You know the feeling, don't you? Waking up with that heaviness in your chest, replaying the same scenes over and over. The anger feels righteous. The sadness feels unshakable. And every step forward feels like wading through quicksand, dragging their memory with you everywhere you go. But let me tell you something, the moment you let them shape you with their cruelty, they win. Oh, they're not just satisfied with the damage they've already done. No, they want to live in your head rent-free, whispering doubts, feeding insecurities, keeping you chained to the past. Every bitter thought, that's them. Every grudge you carry, that's their victory. Every time you let the pain stop you from trying again, trusting again, dreaming again, that's their control. Even after they're gone, even after the wounds start to close, they keep pulling the strings if you let them. But here's the thing, you're not a puppet. You're not their creation. You are so much more than the pain they inflicted. It's time to stop letting their cruelty be the story. Rewrite it. Take the pen from their hands and start creating a new narrative. One where you're the hero, the survivor, the one who refused to let the darkness swallow them whole. The question isn't, why did they hurt me anymore? The question is, what will I do now when you let their actions define your life? Or will you take control and turn their betrayal into the fuel that ignites your next move? Your move, as always. Let me tell you something they'll never want you to realize. Pain isn't just a wound. It's proof. Proof that you stared into the abyss, felt its cold breath on your skin, and didn't fall. It's proof that you survived their worst and you're still here. Well, sure, they might have left their mark. Scars that ache when the memories resurface. Shadows that linger in the corners of your mind. But those scars? They're not signs of defeat. They're medals of resilience, forged in the fire of their betrayal. Every tear, every scream, every sleepless night, they weren't the end of you. They were the beginning of something else. Something darker, sharper, and infinitely stronger. Because here's the thing about pain, it doesn't just break you. It builds you, too. Think about it. Every time they tried to knock you down, you found a way to stand back up. Maybe not right away. Maybe not without falling a few more times. But you did it. And every time you rose, you became harder to break. You've learned things they'll never understand. What it means to endure, to adapt, to find strength in places you didn't even know existed. So let's flip the script. Think back. What has your pain taught you? What lessons did their cruelty carve into your soul? Maybe it taught you who you can trust. Maybe it showed you what really matters. And maybe it gave you the fire to prove them wrong. Nah, they didn't break you. They tried, but they failed. And now every scar's behind isn't a reminder of the hurt, it's a testament to your survival. Now take a moment. Look at your own story. Where did the pain push you to grow? What did it force you to discover about yourself? Because once you see it, once you realize the strength their betrayal unlocked in you, they lose. Making them regret it, the quiet revenge of rising above. Revenge. Now there's a word that tastes sharp on the tongue, doesn't it? But let me let you in on a little secret. The kind of revenge they fear most isn't loud. It's not screaming, or shouting, or trying to even the score. Nah, that's what they expect. What they want. The revenge keeps them up at night. It's quiet, it's subtle. It's watching you rise higher than they ever dreamed, while they choke on their own regrets. Imagine it's the seeds of their betrayal, the lies, the cruelty, the hurt growing into a forest so dark, so impenetrable. They'll lose their way if they ever dare to find you again. You're untouchable, unreachable, a force of nature, thriving in the shadow of their failure to destroy you. Living well isn't just about finding happiness. No, it's about becoming something more. Someone so focused, so powerful that their memory becomes insignificant. Let their actions fade into the background noise of your success. Think about it. Every time you rise, every time you laugh, achieve, or even just breathe without their shadow looming over you, it's a victory. It's proof that they lost, that their cruelty wasn't enough to hold you down. That don't do it for them. Do it for you. Focus on your growth, your journey. They don't deserve another second of your time. You've already given them enough, haven't you? Take that pain and use it. Shape it. Forge it into something unstoppable. Build a life so filling, so undeniably yours, that the echoes of their betrayal can't touch it. And when they look back, wondering if you're still caught in their web, they'll see nothing but the shadow of what you've become: stronger, wiser, untouchable. So tell me, how will you rise? How will you turn their cruelty into your masterpiece? Funny thing about betrayal, it doesn't just break things, it uncovers them. Like a flashlight cutting through the dark, it shows you things you were too blind, or maybe too kind to see before. Our actions didn't reveal your flaws. They revealed theirs, their insecurities, their weakness, their inability to handle the light you bring to the world. The knife they used wasn't about you. It was about them trying to carve out a piece of what they couldn't have. You see, betrayal has a way of pulling back the curtain. Suddenly, you see who's really there for you, who's clapping for you, and who's just waiting for you to fall. At those moments of pain, they force you to take a hard look at the people around you. Think about it. Who was there when you stumbled? Who reached out when you were down? And who vanished? The hurt draws lines in the sand. It separates the real from the fake, the loyal from the opportunistic. Betrayal stings, but it also purifies. It cleanses your circle. Because once someone shows you who they are, there's no going back, no pretending, no second guessing. And let's not forget what it teaches about you. You've seen your own strength. You've learned what you'll tolerate and what you won't. You've discovered the boundaries you never knew you needed. So ask yourself, what has the hurt revealed? Who stood by you in your darkest moments? What truths have been uncovered in the ashes of their betrayal? Pain is a cruel teacher, but it's effective. It forces you to see the world for what it is, not what you wish it could be. And that's where real power begins. Now take a moment, reflect. What has this darkness taught you? And how will you use it to light your way forward? Let's be honest for a second, shall we? Pain is the only honest currency left in this world. People will trade their masks for a second just to show you their true selves when you're hurting. It's raw. It's real. And if you're smart, you'll learn to spend it wisely. Stop running from your pain. Stop hiding it like it's something to be ashamed of. It's not your shame to carry, it's your story to tell. Every scar, every heartbreak, every betrayal, that's your proof of life, your badge of survival. Here's the twisted beauty of it: when you own your pain, it stops owning you. The moment you say, yeah, it happened, yeah, it hurt, and yeah, I'm still standing, you take away their power. You take back control, but you've got to stop pretending it didn't happen. Stop shoving it down, painting a fake smile, and calling it strength. Real strength isn't pretending you're unscathed. It's standing tall, battle-worn and bruised, and saying, this is me. Take it or leave it. And let me tell you something. When you embrace your darkness, when you wear it like armor instead of dragging it like chains, people notice. They see someone who's unbreakable, untouchable. Someone who turned their hurt into a weapon, sharp and precise. Now think about this. How have your darkest moments shaped you? What have they taught you? How have they made you stronger, sharper, wiser? Here's the challenge: look at your pain, not as a weakness, but as your greatest asset. Let it fuel you, drive you, push you further than you ever thought possible. Because if there's one thing pain can't do, It stops someone who's embraced it. So here you are, standing where they never thought you'd stand. You were hurt, yes, they left their marks, their scars, their shadows. But look at you now, you're not broken. You're untouchable. Their cruelty, that's your crown now. Every tear they caused, every crack in your heart, it didn't weaken you. It made you unstoppable. And now you wear scars like armor, not to hide the pain, but to show the world what it takes to stand against someone like you. Let me remind you of something dark, but true in this world. Kindness is too often mistaken for weakness. People prey on those they think won't fight back. But the weak, oh, they rise. And when they do, they remind the world who's truly strong. So take everything they gave you, the pain, the scars, the silence, and let it fuel a version of you they can never destroy. Use it to build a life they'll envy, a strength they'll fear, and a legacy they'll never escape. Now it's your turn. Don't just let this end here. Subscribe if you're ready to own your darkness, to turn their shadows into your strength. This is your story now. Let's make it unforgettable.